What is going on, Sports Minds? It's your boy MJ coming at you with another non-live episode of Fantasy Fumble. We are starting it a little bit early here today because it is Hurricane Week here in Florida. We got to get ready. Joe, how the hell you doing today, brother?
Man, it's been a crazy start to the season, hasn't it? It's just hard to figure out your next move when half your lineup's injured or on a bye. But that's the situation I've been in for the last couple weeks, so I'm trying to navigate that. And yeah, it's hurricane season, so I'm in North Carolina, you're in Florida. We just dealt with Helene, and now Milton's on the way to get his stapler, and you got to prepare for that. So we're recording a day early. Just going to kind of discuss everything with you guys, kind of go through the news and some of the hot matchups, the cold matchups, and just kind of go back and forth rather than going piece by piece. We're just going to kind of exchange ideas on the fly here tonight.
Yeah, something different. Fantasy Fumble history here, guys. We're going to go ahead and do this kind of like a real show instead of the beautiful edited masterpiece you guys get to see every week.
Not
So we
quite
get
as
to
scripted tonight.
Yeah, we get to have a little bit of fun. You guys give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. But before we get into that, a word from our sponsor.
Hey there, my name is Manny James Gonzalez with PRB, and I'm a real estate agent here in Central Florida. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, military relocation pro, and big supporter of 2A and veterans' rights. My specialty is VA transactions. I'm also experienced in all parts of real estate.
I've been living in Florida for over 20 years, and I can tell you we still believe in freedom down here. One of the greatest job markets, excellent economy, and no state income tax. When it comes to an agent, you want one that's going to be honest, not afraid of a fight, and most importantly, willing to do the things that some agents aren't willing to do.
And what's that, Manny?
Shoot straight, Dan. If you're ever considering buying in Central Florida, you need somebody you can trust, and I got your six. I'm Manny James Gonzalez, find land for the free and home for the brave.
Welcome back, ballers. Now, Manny, as you know, there has been a lot of news. There's still all that stuff going on with Davante Adams. I'm not sure what his move is going to be, but the head coach of the Jets also got fired, which is surprising to me because, I mean, they're doing okay, aren't they?
Their defense is solid. He's a defensive coach. You know, their offense is the issue.
Yeah, I know the offense has been really bad, but what's their record? 2-3?
Yeah, they're 2-3, and they're on a short week coming around playing the Bills, and it's a pretty big deal. Buffalo Bills rivalry week, you know, and this is, I think, in New York too.
I just feel like there's got to be a little bit more to the story, but maybe not. It seems weird, though, the whole firing. I can't really make sense of it. I haven't had a lot of time to look into it since it did just happen today. But then we also got the situation with Davante Adams, where is he going to the Jets or is he going to the Chiefs? What's the status on that?
I guess it's whoever's putting together the best package, because I've seen a rumor before about, you know, Davante and Max Crosby saying they had to be a package, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think Max Crosby has that kind of, sway, right? So they're going to be able to they don't have no trade clauses, right? So they're going to go wherever the heck the Raiders want to sell them to, right?
Pretty much.
And I think those are the only two logical spots. They're both teams hurting for wide receivers, teams that are desperate, but teams that I can also afford. But the only way the Chiefs can make it work is by getting money off their books. And the only way they can afford Davante Adams' contract is by getting rid of Travis Kelce's.
We've also got a handful of injuries. Joe Mixon is still not back. You know, I traded for him in one league. I was expecting to possibly play him this week, and now they're talking about he might be out for another week or two. And that's kind of concerning. He wasn't on IR. It sounded like what we were told was a mild ankle sprain. It's clearly not mild, or it's nagging. Something's going on there. And then Njoku's another one that's still banged up. He's in and out for a few plays, and the whole Cleveland offense is just hammered shit. So I don't know what to expect with him and Amari Cooper. They're talking about Amari Cooper might be traded too, or at least just some buzz about that could be a possibility in the next few weeks, because clearly they're not utilizing him properly in Cleveland. And I don't know, this is going to be a rebuilding year at a minimum for them. And then you got people like on the Kansas City Chiefs, like Kareem Hunt coming out of nowhere. He's that dude that just comes back, kind of like Flacco. They're retired and then they come back and just mop the floor with everyone. So that was cool. I'd like to see Flacco continue playing, but I'm not sure what the status is on him either. And also with the Steelers right now, they got Russell Wilson coming back, and you also got Justin Fields, who in my opinion has been playing a lot better than expected. So not sure what the Steelers are going to do. I know Justin Fields is going to play this week, but I'm not sure what they're going to do in week 7. There's just so much going on in the NFL right now. It's hard to keep up. And between the injuries, the trading, and just a lot of unexpected players really stepping up to the plate, and a lot of the studs nowhere in sight, it has been a strange start to the fantasy football year and the regular football year.
Yes, it has. A lot of ups and downs, obviously, in fantasy football. You call it, right? A lot of teams coming out of nowhere, like the Vikings, coming out of nowhere, just dominating as they have. But before we get into all that, let's get into our hot matchups of the week.
I'll kick things off with I was just glancing at the schedule, and one that popped out to me was the Lions versus the Cowboys. That's going to be a red hot matchup. We've seen what the Lions can do when they're firing on all cylinders, and they put up a lot of points. Jared Goff looked amazing last game. They're coming off of a bye week, so everyone's rested and ready to go. I expect big things from. Here's the thing. Both teams look great on offense, and then Dallas has been pretty suspect on defense. Coming into the season, we were expecting them to be one of the better defenses, and they have not come through at all. So I think the Detroit Lions are going to run all over them. They're going to throw all over them, and then Dallas has no choice but to come back. And right now you've got CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks is injured, but Jalen Tolbert stepped up to the plate. Looks even better than Brandon Cooks, in my opinion. And you also got a healthy Jake Ferguson. So those three guys and Rico Dowdle being more involved, I think even though the Lions defense is really good, this is just going to be a very offensive game with a lot of back and forth. And everyone on the Lions is a must start. And those three guys, in my opinion, Jalen Tolbert is a good flex play. Those three guys offensively on the Cowboys are good starts. And even Dak should be a good start this week, and Jared Goff.
If you remember, too, I was talking about Jalen Tolbert week 3. I was like, hey, waiver wire ads. I was telling them he's going to take over Brandon Cook's spot, and it took a Brandon Cooks injury for him to take over, but he's already been flashing for a few weeks now. Actually, his down week was week 4, right? Because when I was picking him up all across leagues, week 3, week 4 he had a down week, and I ended up going again Leggett, who had a good week that week. So it's just been a up and down. But I can tell you that it will be a high-scoring affair. I'm excited for both sides. Like Jay Ferguson, like you were saying, CeeDee Lamb, Tolbert will get some action in there. I don't know about Rico. He might get a sneak something in there. But Lions have been playing some solid defense. So I think it's going to be more the Lions game doing whatever they want versus the Cowboys. So, but that's definitely projected to be one of the highest scoring games of the week by Vegas. They have it at 52.5 for the spread.
And I think you're completely right about the Lions defense being good. And I would say, just given his usage, though, Rico's still probably a good flex play. He's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
probably get 15 touches, maybe even 20.
Yeah, and squeeze a touchdown in there, I'm sure. Now, for my hot matchup that I was looking at, obviously I was definitely looking at that one there. But another one popped up that looks just as juicy. The Ravens versus the Commanders, which has a similar spread, 52.5. So Vegas even thinks it's going to be a high scoring game. And when you have two hot shot dual threat quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels going up against Lamar Jackson, it will be that kind of day because the Ravens have been terrible against the pass this year. And so have the Commanders. They're both just terrible against the pass, and they both have elite offenses with really good run games. So you're going to see a lot of read options, a lot of Derrick Henry, a lot of Brian Robinson Jr., Eckler. Like, take your choice. That game's going to be fun. Wide receiver wise, unless it's Zay Flowers on the Ravens side and Terry McLaurin on the other side, I don't want any piece of those wide receivers on either side. Right, those are the only two I'm touching. And then tight ends, I'm not touching either tight end. Right, if you are in an emergency spot and you have Likely, like you're playing him, but other than that, I'm not trusting tight ends because that's going to be a running game for both. And you might sneak a couple touchdowns here and there through a random receiver.
All right, Manny, let's get into our cold calls of the week. Got a cold front coming in. The Steelers versus the Raiders. I think the Steelers are going to have a monster day on defense, and both offenses have been struggling. You know, right now you've got Jaylen Warren and Cordarrelle Patterson out. They've been out for the last couple weeks. They're out. They're both out for week 6 again. And you still don't want to start Najee. It's hard to explain. I would say Justin Fields is someone that you could start if you are trying to reach at the quarterback position. But even George Pickens, like, I'm not sure if I want to start him. And the situation on the other side of the field, who are you going to start from the Raiders? Trey Tucker,
Jacoby
maybe?
Myers would be the only one.
Yeah, like maybe. You wouldn't even feel good about it.
No, he would be a flex, and he would be like a toss up between Keon Coleman and like guys, you know, one hit wonder, one catch blow up type of guys. So, you know, boomer bust players.
And Madison with more touches, still doing nothing. It's a similar situation as Najee. So I don't really want anything to do with that game from a fantasy perspective. And I do think the Steelers are going to have a great day on defense. And that's something that's against a bad team like the Raiders. It's just going to have an exclamation point. So I see them as a good start. The Steelers, they're a good start. The Raiders might not even be a bad start on defense, but the offense, I'm staying far away from both teams. No one I would really start.
Yeah, and I agree with all those points. I mean, there's no one I would start with comfort on either team, and that's a horrible game. And hopefully I don't get to catch it on Red Zone. No offense, unless it's Najee Harris in Red Zone. That's the only person I want to see there. And that's a flex, right? Najee, if anything, and that's with very strong doubts, right? Because they just are not feeding him the right way. They're like giving him the ball in the most obvious run situation. You know, it's stupid.
I know it's so painful.
Yeah, but for my cold matchup, I mean, I went ahead and went with a very similar game with struggling offenses. LA Chargers and the Denver Broncos. Obviously, huge dysfunction in those backfields, right? Well, not for the Chargers side. They obviously have J.K. Dobbins, and he's clear cut, right? He's been solid, 20 points a game. But so I would start him with no problems. But on the opposite side, I'm not starting any of those guys. You know, like Javonte Williams, if emergency necessary. But they're giving the goal line touches to little Jaleel McLaughlin. It doesn't make sense to me, right? Javonte is the bigger back, stronger back, superior back. Why not, right? That whole team just scares me. And then I even Cortland Sutton is supposed to be a Marquise Colston this year. He's not. They're not getting him the ball enough. They're not trying to get him the ball. It's just Bo Nix is just not looking his way. Now on the other side, of course, looking at the Chargers side, Lab McConkey, good flex. Besides him, Quentin Johnston, boom or bust, not touching him.
Yeah, I'm not touching him either.
And then the tight end, whoever the hell the tight end is, I'm not touching him either because I can't even think of who it is. That's
Parkinson?
how bad they are. No, that's for the Rams. Colby Parkinson is for the Rams. Yeah, I don't even know who the Chargers tight end is. That's how bad they are. But anyway, so stay the hell away, guys. Really good game to get trapped in. Don't get sucked up into the vacuum that is a shitty game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't even know if I'd want to play their defenses though either, because they're probably just not going to do much. It's probably just going to be one of those games that sits. Maybe the Broncos.
It's kind of like playing Pittsburgh D. I would play Pittsburgh but not Raiders. And then over here I play the Broncos and not the Chargers.
Yeah, you're probably right. I feel like both those games are just going to sit between the 40-yard line the entire time.
Punt.
Sad.
Punt and field goals,
I hope
baby.
not.
Play the kickers.
I'm going to be watching, so unfortunately.
Play the kickers, yeah.
yeah, play the kickers. Boswell, that's a good start. Put him in. Now let's get into our shit calls of the week. My shit call is, despite calling the hot matchup very well with the Ravens versus the Bengals, 79 total points, I said to stay away from Zay Flowers and that I wouldn't start him. And he finished with 7 catches and 111 yards. When I call a hot matchup and looking at the script that you expect from that game, I should have figured that Lamar would involve Zay Flowers. So that was an oversight on my part. I thought it was just going to be a heavy run game, but he was throwing the ball a lot. And on the other side was Zay Flowers for over 100 yards. So that was my shit call. Is I said stay away from all those dudes unless it's Lamar or Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Not too bad. A little shitty, but not too bad. Now for my shit call, I definitely I wouldn't say I shit the bed on this one, but I'd say I missed. I picked the hot matchup of Houston versus Buffalo, right? I thought there was going to be fireworks. It was going to be the Josh Allen versus CJ Stroud show, and it just completely deflated. It was just a dud, man, because Josh Allen had 1 touchdown total, and so did CJ Stroud, 1 touchdown total. Like that was the difference. Like if you look at their stats, they threw for Josh Allen 131 yards. CJ threw for 331 yards. He had that beautiful dart that he threw the 67-yard bomb to Nico Collins for the touchdown. But besides that, the only other touchdown they had was a rushing touchdown by David Akers. And, so basically they each scored a rushing and a passing touchdown. So it was that kind of game, right? James Cook had a TD. So overall, it was just a bad fantasy game. So I apologize, guys, for telling you to go jump on that train. But I think anybody that saw that performances from Josh Allen would also be disappointed as well.
Oh, man. I was just looking at his stats. 130 yards. Oh, my gosh.
That's horrible. He didn't even have rushing yards. Josh Allen had, 54 rush yards on 4 carries. He was killing it on a rush, but he just wasn't aggressive enough,
Yeah, that was unexpected. And, I mean, James Cook had his typical game. That was nice. Mm-hmm. But everyone else, very quiet. Keon Coleman, that 1 catch for a 50-yard touchdown. Yeah.
That was amazing. Like
that wasn't. I saw that, and there's when they showed the replay, he did stay in. It was like the balls of his feet were in bounds, and his heel was over, but it wasn't touching the grass. So he was going up the sideline. He stayed in.
The good thing is he had a different color shoe than the hash mark, right? That's where players mess up because you can't see the difference when it's the same color, white on white.
Yeah.
So if you wear something else, you're totally, it's a little bit easier to spot. So
Yeah.
now it's time to let them hang, boys and girls. It's time for the big balls call of the week.
Let them hang, ladies.
Yeah. All right. Now for my big balls call of the week, I want to think of something that's going to be really blow your socks off. So anybody that's had Breece Hall knows that he's been struggling and knows he needs that game. This is that game. Breece Hall plays this Sunday against Buffalo on Monday Night Football against the 32nd ranked rush defense in the league. And I know most people say, oh, that's a guaranteed, right? That's the worst rush defense. If you've had Breece Hall this year, you know that it has not been a guarantee with that guy, right?
Yeah,
You've been struggling. So my claim is Breece Hall is going to have a 150 rush yards and 3 touchdowns this Monday night. So you want me to go big? I'm fucking letting them hang.
Oh, you sure are.
All right. So that's my big balls. I ain't going out like no bitch.
Damn, I love it. I love it. You've been aggressive, though, with all your big balls calls. They're aggressive, but that's super aggressive. You're talking 3 touchdowns.
Bro, he needs to make up for the rest of the season. Watch them feed him. The new coach, they're gonna play inspired football. We've seen this before. Remember, Raiders did it last year with Antonio Pierce. There always seems to be a little bit of a spark in the locker room when a coach gets fired sometimes.
But you're right. This is the matchup to get that done. That's what when I saw that they were the 32nd ranked rush defense, I thought maybe Cam Akers can do something this week. He did vulture a touchdown, but it's amazing, even as the starter, he just does absolutely nothing. Not even against Buffalo. But I agree with you. Breece Hall is going to have a monster day.
And talk about Cam Akers. That's why the Rams let him go. Sean McVay saw that years ago. He flashes this greatness and then he just dissipates into
quickly.
Yeah.
Well, for my big balls call, I'm going outside of the box a little bit, and I'm touching on the code call I made earlier. I believe that the Steelers are gonna finish as the number 1 fantasy defense, the highest scoring fantasy defense, and get 3 turnovers. So I'm going big too. Not quite as big as you, but 3 turnovers and the number 1 defense, Pittsburgh Steelers. I just feel like the matchup's perfect. And
it is.
I see them grinding the entire game and making it a high-scoring defense, shutting them down on offense.
Letting them hang.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming out supporting us once again. We're going to stay safe during this hurricane, obviously. We appreciate the support. Make sure you look after your loved ones, hug them tight, make sure everyone's safe. But on a more serious note, we appreciate the support, guys. Please continue to like and share our content. We've been doing this for a couple of years now on the air, obviously, a decade off the air, right? This is just what we do is fantasy football. So if you like what you see, you know where to come back to. Joe, what else do we have for them as far as content?
Oh, man, that's what I'm saying is, we just talk about this stuff all the time. So we decided to start recording it. And, we've always liked talking about football. I've always liked making videos. Manny and I said, let's start a YouTube channel. Hell yeah. And we're going to keep pumping out the player profiles and just the little highlights here and there of some cool shit, like that Kenneth Walker game and Kirk Cousins setting that franchise history. So we're going to upload little stuff like that here and there. But if there's anything you want to see, whether it's a player highlight or player profile, drop a comment. We'll get it done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again here next week. Same time, same place. We appreciate the love and support. You guys have a good one. Be safe and see you next time, guys.